It's the most wonderful time of the year. Yes, folks, October is finally here. You know what that means. Season 2 of The Gathering. Now, in case you don't remember, The Gathering is my special tribute to Halloween, October. So we're going to be doing a bunch of statue reviews, everything under that umbrella of horror genre, scary stuff, Halloween theme, whatever. In the house today, we have a guy that I've had for a long time and I've been wanting to do a review on. One of the most scariest guys around that I know of, the Scarecrow. Stay tuned.
Just before he left her, said, nobody ever goes in, and nobody ever comes out.
Alright, so here is Scarecrow. Now, one of the biggest reasons I love this character so much is because unlike most other characters who are, scary or can induce some kind of fear, this dude actually customizes whatever your fear is. So what may be scary to me may not be scary to you. Some quick go-tos are bugs, insects, snakes, stuff like that. That may be scary to some people, but not to others. But like I mentioned before, this dude is capable of customizing your own fear. He doesn't even need to know what exactly you're scared of because he does have a fear toxin that induces that fear in you. So once that stuff gets inside you, yeah, you're gonna be experiencing whatever fear it is that you have. Now, I know if this guy got me with that fear toxin, you know what pop up? Child support. Fuck that.
I thought my jokes were bad.
So Scarecrow was the obvious choice to kick off the October statue reviews. If you've seen in my previous videos, he was actually paired up with Harley and Catwoman as part of the Arkham line. And I held off doing his review because I knew he was going to be the first statue I was going to review in the Gathering here. But enough of that, let's get to the review. So the base here is very iconic with the Arkham series. What I mean by that is, just like all the statues in the Arkham series, they all have this very similar kind of base, kind of a rooftop kind of thing with these two headstones in the front of the base. Now, every character is different, but the two headstones are there to complement the character. And on Scarecrow here, we can see that those two headstones, face stones, sculptures, whatever, they're kind of like a portrait of him, which is, in this case, kind of like a mass portrait of a Scarecrow face, but also with a skull kind of seeping through it. And just like the other bases of the Arkham series, of course, as you see that concrete theme, lots of grays here. Lots of details though. We can see the bat symbol at the back, some piping, things of that nature, but for the most part, yeah, we have a kind of similar base here. And the front of the base has that church style cathedral painted glass look. Okay, sculpted right there in the front. And very nice, very elegant. Now moving up to Scarecrow, obviously his design is from the Arkham series. And his design is a very kind of old, weathered, beat up. Almost, if you didn't know any better, he kind of looks like a homeless guy, because all of his clothing is all patched up together. He looks dirty, grimy. His fingertips are all discolored. Like, he just looks like a very uncleansed, dirty, filthy, grimy, malodorous kind of character. But that still doesn't take away from all the details that are in him. Going from the bottom up, yes, he does have this leg prosthetic knee brace going from all the way from his hip all the way down to his ankle. So that tells me I don't know, he has a limp or something, but yeah, all the details in that alone, they just look great. One of his boots here is tied together. The other one is just flapping open at the top of the boots. So you can tell these are very old, very weathered. Again, and you can see the skin, his calf right here. And again, it doesn't look healthy. It looks kind of like a gangrene kind of color. So despite how smart Scarecrow is, obviously we can see he has hit some hard times, obviously due to his criminal background and engagement in all that criminal activity, where looks like he's just living off the street just for survival, which makes him more menacing because think about it. You have a guy who is an insanely smart, genius level person, but has hit rock bottom. So he's on a rampage and he has that mentality where he does not care. At this point, he has nothing to lose and he's gonna go out with a bang. Moving up, yes, he does have his belt buckle with all the little satchels, the bags right here. Don't know what's in them, but obviously there's nothing good in them. Moving up to his torso, this is where his genius really shows. Because he, at first glance, and if you didn't know who Scarecrow was, kind of looks like he has bombs strapped on him, but they're not bombs. They're actually canisters filled with that fear toxin. And the details that Prime 1 did with him are just great because, yes, again, these things look like they're homemade. Best I can describe them is, pipe bombs, kind of a similar look to them, but we can see that there's that clear glass to show the fear toxin in them. And as we can see, they're strapped all around him with the tubes coming out, and obviously going to his gauntlet here to inject the fear toxin. And that's another great attention to detail. All the tubes, you know, they're all sculpted here, you know, but they do look like that clear medical tubing, but they're filled with that fear toxin just going and seeping all through his body. Even in the back right here, he does have 2 fear toxin canisters linked up to his back with these hoses coming out of the fear toxin canisters and going somewhere into his clothing. Obviously they're leading up to the fear toxin in his gauntlet. Now his trench coat is just one big piece. You know, obviously we can see it all the way from the bottom going all the way to the hood. And again, it just looks very, very grimy, very dirty, very weathered. Almost to the sense where you can probably imagine what this thing smells like, or what he smells like, I should say. That's the amount of detail that this statue has, where, you know, you're looking for a while, you start getting that kind of sense where, like, man, this dude probably reeks. So the trench coat does have a lot of texture work here. I would guess it looks like it's a homemade straw material of some type. I mean, it doesn't look like leather, doesn't look like cotton, doesn't really look like any kind of material that I'm familiar with. The best way I can describe it, and it would be appropriate with him because he is Scarecrow, it does look like if he took straw and somehow formatted to make this trench coat. You know, we do see that texture work where, yeah, I mean, it could be, very well be that. It's all stitched up together like a Scarecrow as well. His hand, where he does not have the gauntlet here, we can see that he has a fingerless gloves here and his fingers are showing, but again, they look sick, honestly. It looks like a green shade, and obviously that tells me that he's either been dipping his hands in the fear toxin, some kind of poison, some kind of just material that he shouldn't be having his hands in, because they look sickly. They look like, you know, just infected with something. It's hard to describe what they look like, but obviously he's not in a good condition. Now this gauntlet here, man, it is highly detailed. Lots of texture work here, lots of coloring, lots of shadings to give it that realistic look. That what if somebody just off the street had to make this with the materials they just found, just the raw materials they'd find just around about, you know, dumpsters, alleyways, things like that. That's the kind of feel I get for him. But again, this dude is a genius, so he was able to figure out a way to weaponize and create this mechanical type of gauntlet that injects the fear toxin into you. Right here on his hand, where the fear toxin is, we do see all the syringes, kind of like a Freddy Krueger kind of hand. Now, he does not have the fear toxins on his fingertip. They're actually right above him, something like this. So yes, I mean, they're designed to, you know, inject somebody in multiple points, and once he gets you with that, again, you'll probably die of the fear that you're experiencing internally. And there's a lot of attention to detail here, because we do see in those fingertips here of the syringes the orange color of the fear toxin. So yeah, I mean, more attention to detail, you know, this thing is pretty much ready to go to inject that venom into somebody. Finally, his portrait. Now the hood does cover a lot of his face, so you really have to get in there and look at it, but man, very menacing looking mask, honestly. That mask looks so realistic, you think that that's how Scarecrow actually looks, but no, it's actually a mask, and it's incorporated with a gas mask. So his weapons are not only the fear toxin direct injection, but also smoke, which is why he does wear that gas mask, to protect himself from inhaling that smoke. But just like the portraits here on the base, he has the same kind of portrait here where, yes, we do see it's like kind of that straw material mask, but it's also shaped in the way that it's covering or pulling on a skull. So yes, imagine that like a skull, also with just like a tight straw mask on it. That's the best way I can describe it. Very menacing, very scary, very terrifying alone. So just take a moment to think about that. This dude here, he embodies fear, and you see him and yeah, you're gonna be freaked out, you're gonna be scared. So when you're already on that high level of stress and fear, and then he hits you with that fear toxin, you're done, forget about it. Now finally, this is the exclusive, which I am extremely, well, let's just be honest, I'm pissed off about the exclusive for this guy. The exclusive for Scarecrow is this Batman portrait here. Basically, it's a portrait with Batman with the fear toxin. I don't have that freaking statue, so this is completely worthless to me. I'm gonna hold on to it. I'm not gonna get rid of it. You know, I think it's a cool addition, but I just think it's bullshit. To me, it's a money grab where I get this statue, I get the exclusive, right? But if I ever want to use this, I gotta get the damn statue, which no, I'm not gonna do that. So maybe one day I'll sell it. I mean, I really don't plan to ever get Batman. But who knows? If I decide to sell it one day, I will definitely let you know. If you're interested, hit me up. But that's my review on Scarecrow here. Again, I think he is a badass freaking statue. One of the best, but also one of the most underrated. And I think the reason for him being underrated is because he has a lot of like muted colors, kind of the same, very dull. But that's who he is, you know? I mean, you see him and yeah, he's a scary character. You know, he's badass. He's a perfect depiction of how he looks in the Arkham series. But with that said, he's been on my display for a long time for very good reason. But I would love to know what you guys think about Scarecrow here. Leave your comments down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you haven't. It doesn't cost you a dime, but it helps me out tremendously. And as always, collect what makes you happy.